Shining bright and tender, the sun slowly flies off high up in the sky, turning life's spiral into days round with ease. It rises for joy and love, warming both the land and the heart. With a gentle smile, it rolls down over the Zlatieta plateau, shimmering, swaying through the hills, stealthily squeezing through the cornfields, slipping into the vine, playfully disclosing the treasures of this land. And they are no secret. The river is mysterious, mythically elusive, interweaving age and destiny. The Danube River is endearing and sympathetic today, and its waves are glittering gold.
Не може света без слънце, не може сърце без любов. Не може света без слънце, не може сърце без любов.
The town of Kozloduy is situated on the Danube River close to the Ogosta outflow. One wonders what its name stands for: a corner of ice blocks, a low gully, or simply a steep bank along the river. Most probably one will never know. In every person's name, in the name of every town, there is always a hidden meaning, a secret, which predicts and tells stories. Kozloduy is an ancient settlement in a young town, which harbors the memories of many years. Majestic, self-reliant, and certain of its future, it is a town built up to its measure and standard, warm-hearted, genuine, and man-driven. The bricks and the tiles, the small streets, the friendly neighbors, they are the human face of this town. They all stand for its true life and lead the way to its future, just like the stone of the ancient Regianum guards the past. The history of the church in the city of Kozloduy dates back to 1865, when a small church with a wooden clapper was built in the churchyard. The St. Trinity Church was built by donations in 1914. The wood carving is a testimony of esteemed traditions. The strict lines tenderly caress the flowers. The cross rises from the leaves like a key to the ultimate truth that draws the earth and the heavens together. The images of the saints inspire passion and sympathy. The walls come to life. The blue is as bright as a spring morning, as beautiful as a dream, and as clean as an honest confession. Everything seems so close to the heart. It elevates the soul and clears the mind. The people cherish their Christian faith. It is this faith that has preserved us, and people respect that. On the 30th of May, 1966, the only floating museum on the Balkans embarked at the Kozloduy port. The Radetzky steamer has its own proud story about how generations make history. It was the idea of journalist Liliana Lozanova that 1.2 million open-minded and kind-hearted children should collect scrap and donate the proceeds to rebuild the steamer, a deed to be admired and flaunted before the world. Their reward was a trip with the steamer, and for several days, the ship turned into a children's republic.
Тогава, преди 34 години, нашия превоз при
Back then, which is 34 years ago, we used an ox cart to transport the collected scrap. What we have to do now is just try to pass on our spirit and our mentality to our children and grandchildren. Those 65 cents contributed by each child could hardly have covered the rebuilding of the steamer, but the enthusiasm was incredible. On the 17th of May, 1876, teacher Mladen Pavlov welcomed Botov's detachment and joined its ranks. Brave men went down on their knees and kissed the land, the way one kisses a mother's hand, asking for forgiveness and a blessing. Their words were simple: brothers, let's kiss this land which will shelter our bones when we die for the freedom of our homeland. Their flag was small, but how small a flag might be, and yet how great an idea. How golden can an embroidered lion be? Maybe as golden as the land he has risen from? The detachment enters the Bhutan village. The men set up headquarters in the house of priest Ivan Volkov, who has sent word to Botov to land in Kozloduy. Then, battles, arrests, and death. The price one pays for the privilege of being free. On the left bank of the Ogosta River, at the heart of Zlotieta, the Bhutan settlement has spread like a self-reliant master of the lowland. Its name is mentioned in the Turkish registers as far back as 1620. It has given birth to farmers and warriors who defended their fatherland as they worked their fields, day after day, battle after battle. The Bhutan folk respect their past and demonstrate a keen interest in reform. They have founded a land credit cooperative, built an agrarian school, and as early as 1925, they have opened the first village cinema in Bulgaria. I've worked for the Bhutan cinema since 1955. 4 films were on every week. We've been fined by the fire department on many occasions for overcrowding the cinema. But what could I do? The cinema was my life. In 1860, Ivan Volkov became a priest here, and he started opening the eyes and souls of the Bhutan people. The building was modest, but on 2 stories. The lower one was made of stone, the upper one of whitewashed wooden fence. The children had classes on the first floor, and they would gaze at the heavens from the second floor. A small bell tolled for the first time shortly after the liberation. How fast the life of these people changes. It is strange how an individual can materialize the ideas of an entire age, from the clapper and the slate pencil to welcoming Botov's detachment. Just like running water or a gentle song, the beauty of souls seeps through the colors. The gold in the ripe grains of the wheat, the red in the dignity and the celebration, the green of the lush spring. Lovely roses and delicate tulips bloom on the people's vests. Butterflies dance on the shirts and intertwine with the ribbons in the hairs of maids and brides, while silk scarves flutter tenderly. The Lower Danube Road was built in the 1st century during the time of Emperor Tiberius. Camps and garrisons, castles and forts used to protect it. Fires kindled on the hills used to warn of approaching danger. These hills lead us to Kriva Bara, meaning curved brook. 3,000 years ago, someone was buried here, huddled as in a mother's womb. The bones have been colored in red. For the Thracians, this is the color of life. They used to tie up the hands and feet of the dead to prevent them from returning and harming the living. Thousands of years have gone by since then, and the village is small and cozy, with its own face and character, with spacious homes that make you feel welcome. The fire would blaze up on this hill, and then on the next one, and the next one. Its light leads us to Glozhine. Here too, time is embedded in the land. Secrets about love and war, about victories and defeats, about rulers and heroes of old times. Every piece of earthenware, every spear gap, and every water well tells a little story. They whisper them to the children as they run through the gardens. Midsummer week comes after Whit Sunday. Then the evil is dangerous and the remedies are special. The morning dew gives health, the flowering dittany strength, the wormwood provides protection. Its magic sends away the diseases and repels evil. They use it to decorate houses and cattle sheds and put it on cradles of newborn infants. During midsummer week you don't work, but you don't sleep late either, or you might get the midsummer disease. One does not go alone in the field, does not sit at a crossroad or a boundary strip, but mostly one avoids the wood nymphs. The nymphs are the magic key to this ancient holiday. They embody the idea of a female magician who possesses terrifying powers, unrivaled beauty, and eternal youth. Their only hope are the male healers. In these parts they are called kalushari. Dressed in white clothes, in complete silence, with all the power of nature, the men step forward to mislead and deceive the illness, to send it away and restore health, a skill inherited from the past and passed on from father to son. Harmony is regained, and somewhere, deep in the heart, remains the veneration to the incomprehensible forces of the past, and we secretly ask ourselves whether or not this is the right way. Not far away from Colonia Ulpia Ratiaria were the only ruins of a town, narrated Procopius of Caesarea. Emperor Justinian retained the old name and transformed those ruins into an inaccessible fortress with many inhabitants. A fortification along the boundaries of the Roman Empire, Ogosta was built according to the traditions of those times. Solid, strong, and symmetric. To the south, it was surrounded by the high banks of the Ogosta River. To the east and north, by an impenetrable marshland. And to the west, just outside the fortress wall, a ditch lay in wait. From above, it is as though one sees the Roman masters laying brick and stone. The march of the garrison echoes through the walls as the drawbridges go up and the wooden gates are closed at sunset. The Romans captured the Thracians. The Goths defeated the Romans. Then came the Bulgarians. And the fortress became a memento. Such is the cycle of history. Assaulted, demolished, and rebuilt, the Ogosta fortress has kept a little something of its historic might. Are you filming? Agriculture is not a simple job. It should not be underestimated. Everything has to be done accurately and on time. If you manage to do that and nature is on your side, there's nothing better to wish for. At least we managed to preserve the buildings and the old equipment that we had, and that's how we got started. Everything was done on voluntary terms. The land in these parts is rich and generous. Pure gold. Wheat, oats, corn, everything grows here. Vineyards and melon fields, fruit and vegetable gardens. The only way to run out of produce here is to run out of fields. Many, many years ago, a malice illness struck. It swept away young and old and brought disaster to the huts. A stooping old woman told the locals to light a fire 9 times at 9 different places every 9 months. She stayed behind to misguide the illness and drown it in the river. The peasants built huts 9 times, and finally they came back to where they had started. A young man kissed the old woman's hand, and she uttered that nothing would make them leave this land again. They called it Herletz. The village has been here since the 17th century and still bears this name. Here they will turn a hobby into a craft, and the craft into a modern business. The birds stride along proudly. throwing a sly glance, soaked in vanity, like genuine beauty queens. They demonstrate the eternal dance of love, and the dove is a holy bird. It represents love and life. These men can blow their own trumpet. The hunting outfit, founded in 1894, has many traditions, plenty of experience, and good reputation. Guests from the country and abroad visit them all the time. Nobody lives on hunting. Today everything is for pleasure. We have a 5,000 square meter plot, a house, and nearly 100 trees. We take care of the house. It's perfect. The most important thing for a hunter is his passion. There's no gun that'll miss the target. The field is perfect. It's divided into two parts. Hunting is a very interesting and dynamic sport. We have carp, pike, carassias, barbel, mostly chub and occasionally silver carp. Many fishermen come here. Some come from the cities. People from Vratsa and Sofia city come all the way out here when the fishing's good, especially in autumn when the pike is active. They come clad in fancy high boots and they carry gadgets and they spin, whirl, and throw. They catch small pikes and release them. They only keep the big ones. Big or small, we hang on to whatever we can get. The river slowly rolls along, weaving the paths of memories, winding round trees and embracing bushes. The grand door of empires is reflected in its name and its waters. Ogosta is simply August, filtered through the verbal transformation of the ages. To the Romans it meant impressive, sublime, and sacred. The delicate mirror of the water displays a wisdom of its own about truth and knowledge. Elusive secrets and age-old insights are hidden in the dark depths. The tree bark cracks only to give birth to the new day, true to the old dreams. The mirror is the higher knowledge, reflected in the sun, the moon, and the stars. The water purifies and remembers. It takes away what is bad and mediocre, retaining the significant. All we have to do is look for it and find it. The sign of the Bulgarians is a sign of the universe, a stamp of time and a symbol of eternity, which has traveled across the lands through the ages, embodying the unity of the ancient people. The Asperuha Val, meaning rampart, begins from the Kilerbir by the Danube River and reaches Hyridin. It was constructed at the end of the 7th century, 32 kilometers long, built strong and solid, made to protect its own and stop the enemy. It's a wall higher than 2.5 meters. One wonders how many signs we have to read and make out in order to discover the truth about ourselves and our origin. How many roads we have to walk down in order to rediscover ourselves. At present, Kozloduy and the national power plant are one entity. This is my opinion. Both sides have paid a price. Kozloduy used to be a splendid, pretty village of traditions and well-developed agriculture. When the construction of this strategic site began, it had a substantial influence on the people who lived here. It has brought to this region people of entirely different cultures, different languages, of diverse ethnic background from various nations. Kozloduy has paid that price to be one with the power plant. Later, Kozloduy probably became one of the few places in Bulgaria with a strong presence of highly intelligent people who create an atmosphere of law and order and set a good example. Kozloduy is a small oasis in Bulgaria. Any city would be envious of the cultural entertainment available here. And all this is a mutual trust between the power plant and the people who live here. The Kozloduy National Power Plant provides a sea of light and heat.
От светлина и топлина.
The beach tempts one to give up all work, provoking one to give in to the soft sand, dig up a scallop that has sealed the spiral of time, and trust the tender sunbeams. In the past, Konakchiev, meaning boatmen, used to pull the boats in small vessels upstream by rope. Today the same is only done for entertainment, a physical exercise, a test. Who is stronger, me or the river? Summer nights are fresh and cool here, and probably keep tender memories. Or maybe they create them. There are about 120 species of birds in the region. Most of them are listed in the Red Book of Bulgaria. There are rare species like the sea eagle and the black stork. There are also birds threatened with extinction like the ferruginous duck, a diving duck, a pelican, and the pygmy cormorant. Many watch points have been built in key locations. This is the future, and if we don't take matters into our own hands, no one else will. Here, they treat nature like a child that needs care and like a master who has to be served. Love the wood that has soaked up the sun that shines over the fields and the moisture of the earth. To read what is revealed only to your eyes. That was the secret of the old carpenters here. They were famous countrywide, and today the tradition lives on. Not a single tree has been cut down to make these items. They are mostly waste products, so to speak. Working with the wood and imagining that processing this material will produce a very beautiful and effective item. That's what gives me the strength and energy to do this. It is the wood that calls me. When I see a piece of wood, I simply imagine what may come out of it. I am particularly happy to see people enjoy what has been made or what has been created. Bird watchers can watch from the high bank. Fishermen like fishing. The Zlatieta localities here, Island, Ibisha, Chasibar, the Kozloduy lowest wall too. Now we are getting ready for an eco-path in the Ruvinata locality, where many bee-eaters make their nests. When nature is in focus, we can all take better care of it. The spaciousness is golden. It's hard to find another space like this, where the clouds and the grass come together, giving freedom to the song and the eye. The stork's wings speak of mastered strength and time-old wisdom, about tradition that has planted the seeds of a new life. Englander, the captain of the Radetzky steamer, said, "I heard that all of them were killed, but the ideas and deeds of those who died for the freedom of their motherland were blessed seeds that gave abundant fruit." Kozloduy has everything: its past, its land and the sky above, healthy children and lovely women. Hard-working hands build houses and caress the flowers. In these parts they know how to catch fish, how to cook it, and how to bake a crimson round loaf of bread. The most important thing for the people here is to live in peace and celebrate life. When the weather is good, we take our bikes and we come here. We love to go bike riding. Our town is nice. Come and see it.
Zadali mi se drenovskite momi, zadali mi se drenovskite momi, drenovskite momi, drenovskite buki, drenovskite momi, drenovskite buki.
The Danube sunset soothes and pleases the eye. The light slowly goes down and the sun wraps its rays mysteriously in tiny pearl drops of water. Legends and sagas in these parts are thousands of years old. They can be heard in the whisper of the Thracian hills, in the firm tread of the Roman soldiers, in the voice of the winds blowing after the Bulgarian cavalry. You set foot on the ancient land, where every dance is a memory, every blade of grass is strength, every stone knowledge. Only to move on, only to continue history.
Dagi prekara, presmatna vodica. Dagi prekara, presmatna vodica. Savedna ne dava ni jedna parica. Savedna ne dava ni jedna parica. Beli poli diga, matna voda gazi. Beli poli diga, matna voda gazi.